Hello, everybody. My name's Matt Hewson, and I'm here with an interview with Matt O'Driscoll from Turtle Rock Studios. Matt is the executive producer there, and we had a chance to chat about their upcoming cooperative shooter, Back for Blood. Join me for this interview and have a listen in on what made this game and this interview quite special. The first thing I want to ask you is, it's probably a question that you've probably answered 1,000 times, but it's been so important in everyone's lives at the moment. Is how did COVID affect you guys? I mean, obviously you've been working on this game for a few years, and probably started before the pandemic, and I imagine that was a hell of a spanner to throw into the works to try and develop a game in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? March last year, we were all sat in an office, right? And then the next day, obviously people aren't sure which way it's going to go. And then I think the state of California is like, that's it, we're issuing a stay-at-home order. And like people left. And so, yeah, it was interesting times. We had to obviously try and get people working from home as quickly as we could. So, there was a lot of tech set up, a lot of IT infrastructure set up to get people able to work from home, making sure people have got good internet connections. Turtle Rock, just, everyone up your internet connections, we'll pay for the extra. Let's make sure everyone's got what they need, it's tough. And we're at that stage in development where we were starting to get our console testing a lot more stable. And we kind of had to take a bit of a, knock it back a few months, because consoles are not easy to deploy in people's homes. They're particularly development kits. They're big, they're bulky. We're on 5 different platforms if you include PC.
Yeah.
So I mean, people have different setups at home. So there was those kind of challenges involved with it. But what's kind of interesting is like how it changed the studio a little bit as well. We were kind of very much a work in the office studio. We kind of thrived on that. Everyone needs to be in the office for collaboration and communication, and we still want to get a lot of that back when we do fully go back full time. But we also found that we can do remote work. It was something we'd never really considered, but we needed to hire. We couldn't stop our hiring process because we had to finish the game, right? So we still hired the people we needed to finish, whether that be environment artists or engineers or whatever it may be. And some of those were, in locations where they're like, I don't want to move. I want to stay where I am. And we're like, we can make this work now. Yeah, and they're going to stay, and they're going to stay where they are come when everything gets back to whatever normal might be in the future. So, it's kind of, there has been definitely some changes to the studio. Some were bad. It was a struggle, and some have been good.
Yeah, excellent. Did working on Back for Blood kind of feel like a bit of a homecoming for the team, especially the team that have been around for a while? You long time since Left 4 Dead now, but it's after playing it this morning, it certainly it brings back those Left 4 Dead memories. That's for sure.
But that's good, right? We definitely need that foundation that people are saying that they're getting that buzz from it. I mean, there's. The 2 co-founders worked on the original Left 4 Dead, and obviously they're still at Turtle Rock now. Yeah. There's a handful of others that were here during Left 4 Dead days, a little bit before my time. I joined afterwards. So we've got that foundation. We knew what we wanted to build on, but I kind of think it's important that we gave it our own Turtle Rock of today stamp, and a lot of that stuff comes in the card system. I don't know if you got a good chance to play around with that, but it's something new for our game, something new for us as a studio, that, cleaners can go through these campaigns, earn new cards and start building new decks. And that kind of gives each run like a chance of having like a unique or a different style of playthrough.
Yep.
So that was really important for us. Also, the game itself has its own cards. It can throw what we call corruption cards at you, depending on how you're doing. So it might, throw a dark card at you. Dark card it does what it says on the tin. It makes the level dark. And so you're going to have your flashlight on at all times. And it's going to change the play style. So, we kind of gave it our own sort of stamp. And those stamps are really to try and keep encouraging that replayability. How is this run going to be different from another run? whether it's you're up in a difficulty, the corruption cards, the way you play your cards, what character you're going to play. There's a lot of kind of like I liken it to we've given a lot of tools to players. Like, here you go. Here's all these different formulas that you can make, and let's see what they make from them. And I don't know yet what they're going to make from them.
Yeah,
We'll test as much as we can, but we'll find out a lot in these next couple of weeks when we're doing early access in the open beta. We're going to see. I'm sure people play the games in a way we didn't imagine. And, some people break stuff, some people find cool stuff, and we've got a couple of months to react until we go to full launch.
Yeah. Well, further to that, Left 4 Dead had an adaptive difficulty system, and it was kind of one of the first games to ever do that. Has that tech improved significantly since those days, or is it still essentially the same, I guess?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we would call it the AI director. It's still doing a lot of the similar stuff. It's kind of watching how the game is being played, and so if you're on a run and it just it seems pretty easy, you're kind of getting through these hordes without too much trouble. We can up that, we can drop some extra hordes in there at different times, and just to really up the intensity level of your experience. So yeah, the director's watching. Like I said, we're playing these corruption cards. That's a new feature. How and when they're played, we do stack those up to a certain number, which the exact numbers, I don't think we've locked it exactly yet for launch. But yeah, they can stack. So you might get a dark card, you might get an ogre card. I don't know if you saw the big crazy monster. Yeah, right. So that was scripted for that level.
Yep.
But you might get a card where it can spawn in different locations. So
okay.
Yeah,
excellent.
So the director is there. It's still doing a lot of the same stuff.
Well, I mean, the genre now it seems to be quite crowded. The co-op kind of versus horde shooter. How do you think being from the team that essentially created the genre, you're staying ahead of that pack? There hasn't been an awful lot of evolution since Left 4 Dead in, I guess, the gameplay. So what's Back 4 Blood bringing that's really bringing it into the modern era?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to it a little bit, but it would be a lot to do with the cards and how we're going to get throwing all that crazy stuff at the player. Like, it's a little bit rogue. We call it roguelite.
Yep.
And so roguelite games have kind of been a little bit in vogue, I guess, of late. So there is some of that there to modernize it. Yeah, I mean, we certainly brought in, we got some, I don't know how much we're talking about it, some bigger and badder ridden. So the ogre, you saw the ogre. Yeah. We've got some other ones we've not quite announced yet or introduced that are coming later. Certainly some bigger challenges, I think, for players to get through. Yeah. We've kind of developed these kind of different weak spots on them, and we can armor plate some of the weak spots, so people need to be kind of thinking about where they're firing, be careful of the different types of ridden in the horde. Like sometimes they have charred, different types in there as well. And so, yeah, I think those are kind of like our takes on it. And we really, really are pushing that replayability, high intensity gameplay, but we're also kind of encouraging people to explore the world as well. So it's not just firing and running through. There's times where we will give you lulls, and there are things to find in the world, different guns. We've got, I don't know the number again. We're not big on like numbers. We do have a lot of weapons. It
did seem that way at the camp. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of different things you can play with and different permutations. So it's kind of, it's going to be exciting. We offer all these people all these different things that they can play with.
Excellent. Now, the game before this was Evolve. It was obviously a different type, the 4v1 style. Is there any of that's come forward into Back 4 Blood? Any of that lessons learned, I guess, from Evolve, or features that were in Evolve that have made their way into Back 4 Blood?
Yeah, I mean, it was a different game, like you say, 4v1, but a little bit experimental at the time. So I guess definitely for our PvP, we've gone back to a bit more of a traditional mode where it's equal amount of zombies versus equal amount of cleaners.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah,
kind of like doing any of that. Um, we've got an arena in the swarm mode, which is our PvP mode, which kind of closes in on you to try and keep play tight and concentrated.
yeah,
So that's obviously something which something from Evolve we had. We use the camera, the third person camera, when you're playing as the Ridden, so not the
yeah,
monsters. So little learnings here and there, but
yeah.
they were kind of, they are different
Ah,
games.
different
So
games. Yeah, excellent, excellent. The cross generational game is that thrown any curveballs at you, not being able to focus on the newer systems or only the older systems? Has it created any problems?
I think, well, it has meant we've needed to be real careful about console parity.
Mm,
We couldn't have like on a current next gen system, I should
yeah,
say, like 200 zombies because we can, and then
yeah,
but obviously we've got less than that on current gen.
yeah.
Because if I was playing against you on PS4 and I'm on PS5, there's going to be a difference in how
Difference.
you're
Yeah,
playing the game. Yeah, so actually, it was kind of more important for us to like not really separate our player base,
yeah,
keep players together across console, cross generations as well, and that just means we're going to have more people playing in different matches, and we're not splitting people up at all. So
yeah, yeah,
we have to be careful during dev that we keep parity, but I think it's better for players to
yeah,
have that or those different options, right? To still be able to play their friends, they're not bound to a certain platform.
yeah. Excellent, excellent. So you set yourself, I guess, limits on where you could reach with the development.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Yeah,
You have to say like there's only so much we can do. There's only so much AI we can run at a certain time, animations, all that kind of stuff, and it all goes down into budgets and depending on scenes and
yeah,
what you line of sight and all the rest of it. It becomes like a real kind of careful balancing act. But yeah, we got there. Perth was a big undertaking anyway, particularly
yeah.
during COVID. Like I said, to try and get the consoles out to people. So we had to really focus on that to make sure, that parity was going to be working across platform.
Excellent, excellent. Now it's coming to Game Pass on day one. Was that an easy choice to make for you guys? Was it just Microsoft saying, "Hey guys," or did you approach them?
Yeah, so that kind of deal is like publisher to platform
Yeah,
holder. So Warner Brothers kind of
yeah,
did the deal, the
yeah,
negotiations or whatever for that. What it meant for us was very little.
yeah,
Very little development cost for us.
yeah,
I think we're adding like the Win GDK build, the Windows
yeah,
10 build that you can now play on, as well as so we'll be on Steam and EGS.
yeah,
So actually, for development cost for us, it wasn't too bad. I mean, kind of an extra platform, but from a opportunity for us as a developer, it's kind of like it's mind blowing
yeah,
because on day one we're going to have tens of millions of people will have access to this game straight out the door. A lot of these games early doors sometimes struggle because of people haven't bought it yet, they're waiting for sales, so they don't have the player pool there, and
yeah,
so it's tougher to get matches. But like I say, we've got cross-gen cross-play, we've got all these millions of Xbox players, so I
yeah.
think we're going to
So
be good on matches. Yeah.
that's the extra community really is going to help you guys, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, it's
Um,
crazy.
it,
It
it
really
seems
is.
it seems like a perfect fit to me. Like it makes absolute sense. Um, are there any plans for, I guess, like a live event style support after it, or are you looking at a more traditional DLC route, or uh, anything like that in
Oh, I
post
see.
support?
I
Yeah, you
thought
know what I mean.
I thought you meant like live events, as in like esport thing or something like that
No,
going
no,
on.
no,
But
no, not esports, but like what Fortnite does, or something like that. Or are you looking at a more traditional DLC route, or haven't decided yet?
we've got there's definitely DLC drops in the works.
Yeah,
I think we've got 3 that we're going to do over the course of whatever months it is.
yeah,
So yeah, they are. It is, yes.
yeah,
DLC is something we're going to do.
yeah,
Really, team wide, we're working on finishing the game right now,
yeah.
first and foremost, and then we can really see kind of what people like, what people don't take to as much, and that kind of can help us formulate what content drops we might want to do in the future.
Okay, cool. Excellent. I've got one more question. I'm sure you have a general feel about what the community is excited about in general about Back for Blood, but is there something you think that the community's missing and should be excited about? Is there something in the game that you really think people are going to really dig and they're not talking about it yet?
This is like a kind of a funny answer, but
Okay.
blood.
Blood.
We spent a lot of time on like the blood system, the way blood explodes from enemies, the way it ruptures and arms and limbs and blows holes in them. It kind of drenches all over the other players. So you could be covered in it. Your weapons will get covered in it. Splats on the walls and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a little bit of a jokey answer, but we actually spent quite a lot of time developing like how the blood looks and feels in the game. So, and no, I mean, a few people have talked about it, but not as many yet as we'd kind of like hope.
Kind of like,
look at this crazy blood system. Maybe they just expect it, right? I mean, what's the game called? Back for Blood. So,
Back for Blood, yeah.
It's kind of in the title. I'm also looking forward to people getting into the PvP mode.
Yep.
We're showing it for the first time this week and next week, and so it'd be interesting how people take to that, and the different style of gameplay in there. And yeah, just getting into the campaign, how people build decks, how people play. We're going to have, there is a story that runs through the campaign that we tell via your classic, cinematics at certain points. Also, the characters banter against each other. There's a lot of VO. There's little bits of story as they're going through the world. So there's kind of a rich experience there for people to discover, which they won't really discover so much in the beta until they get to launch.
Excellent. Well, that's it from me, but thank you for spending some time with me.
We've got one shot. Let's make it count.
Over here!
Thank you for listening in on what has been a great experience from my end. Back for Blood is looking pretty good, and we will have more coverage over at player2.net.au if you want to check it out. We will also have some video up on our YouTube channel, so make sure you head over there. But thank you for joining me for this interview, and I'm signing out. See yous.